All right, Nick, let's talk about the Nittany Lions going into one of the biggest matchups of the season against Big Ten rival Ohio State. I think this is going to be a huge week for all things Penn State, but that doesn't leave us out of the recruiting game because all big things aren't just focused on the game. There's a big time commitment to the Nittany Lions as well, and we're going to get right into that story because I think this will be huge for the Lions going forward. This, of course, is over from On3 Sports. They have all of the best recruiting and commitment news, so go check them out. On3 Sports, go check their website out. They have lots of good recruiting and commitment news. But Nick, four-star edge Jalen Harvey of Potomac, Maryland, Quincy Orchard High announced his commitment to Penn State this evening, Monday evening. The 6'3", 250-pounder chose the Nittany Lions over Maryland and Southern Cal. The Old Line State Edge joins coach James Franklin in Nittany Lions' top 15 2024 class. He is accompanied by four-star athlete Quentin Martin, four-star tight end Luke Reynolds, among others. Harvey ranks as the number 362 player in the on industry ranking, and he also tabs in as the number 33 edge and number 11 player in the state of Maryland. Now, Nick, I think this guy is going to be big for Penn State. This is a team known lately, as of late, for having really top tier edge play, really great outside linebackers. You look at the NFL, you see these guys popping up everywhere. Everyone knows Micah Parsons. That is the pinnacle of Penn State edge rushing. But you look at Odafe Owehs of the world, the Arnold Ebiketis of the world, the Yetur Gross-Matos of the world. They've had a lot of top tier guys coming out of this school lately. So I think Penn State getting a little bit known for their edge rushers, outside linebackers. And that's why I think them picking up Harvey could be absolutely huge because they can not only develop him to be very good, but they can maybe get a little bit of steal of talent. This guy isn't ranked too high as of right now and, develop him into a really top tier player. But Nick, what do you think about Harvey's commitment to Penn State? And what do you think this means for their program going forward?
So I think you brought up the operative word there, and the term is steal. And for those of you who may follow our NFL channel during the offseason after the draft, we always look for certain teams that get players that we think have a high chance at being steals. And there's two factors we always look for. Number one, are these talking about college prospects going to the NFL? Are these prospects from good competition, from good schools? Number two, are they falling in the rankings a little bit because of their size or some other measurable, but they're still a good football player? You get some of these guys happen all the time. A guy may be a great player in the Big Ten, for example, but because let's say he's 6 foot tall or ran a 4.6 instead of a 4.4, he falls to the fourth round. Those are the guys that become steals. I think this guy fits that mold perfectly. He's from the DC area, the Maryland area right there, the DMV. This is a guy who plays in elite level competition. The Washington, D.C. area has quickly gone up the recruiting boards in terms of pumping out elite talent year after year after year after year. A lot of great high schools in that area. I've lived in Baltimore for a short period of time. I was very well aware of how down south from Baltimore, that was a hotbed for elite high school football talent. So again, good football player coming from a great area. And the reason he's ranked where he is, I think it's because he's 6'2". Some have him at 6'3". I think it's just one of these things where these recruiting rankings, there's a lot of 6'5" guys. There's a lot of 6'5", 265 guys. And a lot of these recruiting rankings, it's hard to put a guy who's 6'5", 260 ahead of a guy who's 6'2", 230, 6'2", 240, right? However he actually measures out. It's just hard for them to do that. So they'll have all the 6'4", all the 6'5" guys ranked ahead of him right here. But he's still a good prospect. He's still a darn good football player. I think he has all of the factors that go into being a steal, right? Again, from a great football area, DC. The only reason he's ranked as low as he is because of his size. I think Penn State has himself a steal here, and I think you brought up a great point. They're known for developing linebackers, known for developing outside edge players as well. I think he has a chance to come in, give him a year or two to develop, and I think he'll become a big-time player for the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, Nick, and you think about his comments in his press conference after admitting to Penn State, and it kind of highlights everything that we've been saying here, but I just want to reiterate it so you can hear it from his mouth and not ours. When asked about why he committed to Penn State, he said, "They stood out to me because they are LBU, noticeably great at developing linebackers. They develop you, they get you to the league, and all the coaches have high expectations of you on and off the field." Now, the other big thing here to me, Nick, is he says they've been recruiting him since he is a freshman, and that adds on to our steal factor. They've been following this guy. They know what he is capable of. He says they plan on using him as a pass rusher, playing him in space. They know his strengths, they know his weaknesses, and they know what he can contribute to this team. So I expect this guy to come out and absolutely perform way above expectation of where he is ranked. I think this will be possibly one of the top edges in the country once he gets developed by Penn State, because they are just that good lately at recruiting and developing high level edge talent. So I think this is huge for Penn State, and I'm really excited to see this 2024 class.
And just one more moment, and you kind of hit on the very end, the 2024 class. I want to give Coach Franklin and his recruiting staff a lot of prompts here for in terms of how they've structured their class. Because I think a lot of programs, what they do, Texas A&M and the SEC is notorious for this. They just go after as many 5-star big name guys as possible. They end up getting like 4 receivers, 8 receivers, 3 offensive tackles, and the recruiting rankings go really high, but they don't build a quality team. This is the 3rd edge commit that Penn State has gotten. You always want a good amount of these. You want 3 or 4 corners. Penn State has 4 corners in this committed to the 2024 class already. So again, this is a great recruiting strategy in terms of building a deep and quality team. So this is exactly what Penn State does to contend and get better and better year after year, right? It's not just getting the steals, it's making sure it's in the context of your overall recruiting strategy. And both, no matter how you look at it, both sides of the coin, in terms of getting a guy who's going to be a steal and your overall strategy in terms of roster building, Penn State gets an A+. Their future just got even brighter.